stands out. You know, not just because of your flag and blood, because it stands out. And so you don't just say no contract. You would put inducement to fraud, always inducement to fraud.
Okay.
And then you can put so everybody write that down. We're going to knock this off with this. We're just talking about something over there. And that's important, but that's useful for everybody. This goes for tickets, bills, alleged bills, anything that they send you, anything. That's if you're going to stand up on what is right, or on your right.
You would write that where the signature line is?
So you write that on the document.
The entire document.
And it was like, if you get
Show
the documents like this, if the documents like this, you're going to go on a 45-degree angle on that document and make it very legible. Don't scribble. You know, don't like rush and scribble. Read it so it's legible to even a person who has bad eyesight. And keep this in mind. And as soon as they send you another instrument after that, you don't keep arguing with them, go after their bond. Send them an allodial cost schedule. In other words, don't keep batting back and forth with them.
I ain't see that.
Once they get that from the very beginning, and you want to do this within this first 72 hours.
No, it's important.
So if you get an instrument, don't let 3 days pass. Just think 3 days. Within 3 days, you get it back to them. You copy it, right? Keep it in your files. Copy your copy in color, but take that original and give it back to them, because it really ain't even an original. And do not, and always put a physical stamp on it, a physical stamp from the post office. Don't have it any other system or way. We're not talking about whether you send it registered or not. Just make sure you got a physical stamp on it, and then you copy it. In other words, do all your work first. Even copy the envelope before you even mail it. So take your time. You know, you write it out. Copy the envelope. Copy what you're going to send them back. Keep that in your files. Send that back within 72 hours. If they send you something else after that, go after their bond. Send them a allodial cost schedule, or get with the commissioner of the city, give them a bill. Clearfield doctrine, they ain't got no business trying to bring you into that private, for-profit corporate entity. And this is why it's very important for everybody to understand that there's no lawful offices operating at North America. The lawful people, we have the problem, we're all sitting here. Our greatest problem is trying to get these heirs in the right frame of mind. You know, because they really don't understand birthright yet. And what they're doing, they're attacking the people while they're yet still asleep, because they're the heirs to the estate. And we have problems to work out. A lot of them are mental. You know, and so the people are looking for remedy, and the remedy is your claim of your estate. But it has to be in your heart. It has to be, you and it have to become one. And so when they're coming at you, understand that they're interloping. This is another reason why you do not ever call them white people, and don't ever call them Americans, and don't call them officers, and don't call them judges. Every time you give them those titles that have already been removed, they accept your offer on the spot, because that's a trust. Then they start making claims on you. So keep that in mind, all right?
Yes.
All right. We good?
We good.
All right. Of North America and the world. And when you forget this, you've already gotten in the ring being cute with your left hand down, and you're probably going to get popped. It's true. Keep that in mind.
Welcome to the Love Fest.
This is like the whole proclamation that she sent out to everybody. So this covers all of us. I got to look up what the bill of execution, executive is.
All other enslavers come from these. Islam. And when you see that, remember this, when you see any, when you're looking at any one of these, you're looking at this. So when you see this, don't think that you're not looking at this. If you see this, don't think you're not looking at this. If you see this, don't think you're not looking at this. If you see this, don't think you're not looking at this. If you see Rex 84, don't think you're not looking at this. If you're looking at King Alfred, don't think you're not looking at this. If you're looking at the Buck Act, don't think you're not looking at this. If you're looking at Homeland Security, don't think you're not looking at this. All of these are diversions. They're just different titles to aspects of this. And when you forget that, logically you start, the water gets muddy and they can play with you. And when they recognize that you don't know that in your language, they start playing. You know, it's no different than when you get in the ring, like say, Seten. Like say if you're training somebody, right? If you're training somebody to get in the ring, and they can be fast and nice and everything, and you tell them, yeah, that's cool and everything, and then I said, thanks, damn man, that kind of hurt. You say, I'm not going to knock you out, but I want you to respect the game, because when you get in the ring, they're going to try to take your head off. It's the same thing. So understand, every time when you're dealing with them, they're looking at you as a corpse, defeated under this mentally if you're walking, meaning if they haven't taken the body yet. And it's just, this is even the basis of where they're laying their bodies down all over, like in Ferguson. It's still this. And one of the reasons why they always target young males, basically because they want the organs.
Yes, they do.
So if you let them take the bodies first, they're going to take the organs anyway.
Yes.
And so everybody got to get their head out of this mystery crap and out of this emotional race crap and understand that they're vampires. And they're operating, this is the code where they do the genocide. This is the code for the genocide. And this is the code for also them taking your houses. With a mortgage for it, all that stuff is in the doctrine of discovery. And then, keep in mind, Article 3 of the Secret Treaty of Verona is where they're deputy knights. And these houses that you think belong to the Lord, that's within 3 blocks in any direction, they're all spy centers. And Article 3 is all of those clergy who really working for the Pope, making you think they're delivering the people to Jesus. And this is where they get their 501c3 skull and bones agreement, where Rome gives them a kickback to keep the BS going on. And so if you caught into that matrix, you're still under this. And so you got to understand what their mission is, what their intent is, and why they're doing what they're doing. And why they're doing what they're doing. So when you're dealing with them, they're operating from this. And if you're sitting around thinking complexions and people are crayons and stuff, they already know you don't know what's going on. You start talking racism, they know you don't know what's going on. And you start talking about whatever versions of God you got, they still know you don't know what you're talking about. Because every one of them is an indication that you're under their matrix. Now that's a fact. Get over it, grow up, and get real. All right, y'all? All right, let me knock this out so Seten can do what he got to do. Y'all got that? Agree with you. You understand? Yes. And if you expect them to agree with you, that means you also out to lunch. It's like saying, I don't know why you stealing my bike? And like you're going to have a discussion with me why you stole my bike. Stop, thief! They down the block like, and they're going to turn around and bring your bike back. It don't work like that.
No, it don't.
Stand up for a minute, please.
All right, yeah, the sister's got the power. She's got the force.
So a lot of times, a lot of people that make things work around here don't always obviously give credit.
That's right.
But she's always in the background doing a lot of work to make sure these things go down, right?
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's my sister. That's right.
SetenRa. Brother's been working hard to keep these classes going. And I want him to know that we appreciate him. I want y'all to let him know that you appreciate him.
I don't want to see no tears up here. Not yet.
Sound good, Baker?
Yes.
Yeah, no. Islam, how y'all feeling?
Good, great, great.
Before we get started, I'd like to request the permission of my elders to speak.
Permission granted.
I said my elders now. I know
You got
a
it.
couple of y'all got it.
Permission granted.
Stop.
Trying to say.
We got quite a bit of information we're gonna cover today, but before we do, I need y'all to pay close attention. I want to read y'all something. This what I'm about to read y'all was inspired by a few people that I know. One of them in here, I ain't gonna say who it is. But
The first name begins with Taj. First.
nah, it's not Taj. I ain't blasting Taj.
First
But
apparition.
yeah, I want y'all. So I'm gonna take y'all back to 6th grade when we used to have to do. I forget what they call it now. It's at the tip of my tongue. You know when you read something and then everybody got to sit there and go through it, and comprehend and decipher what it is that you just read. But I'm gonna read y'all the poem that I wrote yesterday, and we're gonna talk about it. It pertains to what we're going into today. Y'all ready? Tick, tock, tick, tock is the sound I make as I navigate the clock. I am your government. Over you, I have the power. Minute by minute, definitely hour by hour. You rush in attempts to beat me. Your finite mind won't let you resist. Running around like you're crazy, and I don't even exist. Be that as it may, over you, I still rule. I let you believe I was going somewhere. I played you like a fool. But I'm not all bad. I got something for you to do. First, understand that I am real, but I only exist inside of you. Next, learn you, love you, because on you, I can never run out. Learn both sides of the coin and leave nothing left to die. Who am I?
Self,
North, south.
nationality,
Tick tock on the clock. You watch the clock.
TikTok.
Y'all need me to read it again?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm inside of you.
Let's read it one more time.
All right.
Time itself.
Tick, tock, tick, tock. It's the sound I make as I navigate the clock. I am your government. Over you, I have the power. Minute by minute, definitely hour by hour. You rush in attempts to beat me. Your finite mind won't let you resist. Running around like you're crazy, and I don't even exist. Be that as it may, over you I still rule. I let you believe I was going somewhere. I played you for a fool. But I'm not all bad. I got something for you to do. First, understand I'm real, but I only exist inside of you. Next, learn you, love you, because on you, I can never run out. Learn both sides of the coin and leave nothing left to doubt. Who am I?
Self over time.
Time,
Spirit,
spirit,
Higher
mind,
self and lower self,
higher self,
cycle
lower self,
time.
thought,
thought,
Islam,
Islam,
racism,
Zodiacal will.
zodiac of will. Anybody care to expound on what they said? Do I need this? I don't think I need the microphone. Yeah, no? Huh? Camera?
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
all right.
Use it, don't you have the other one?
It wasn't working. The
Yeah, you
microphone
good.
wasn't working. It's all right, I'll hold it. I'm used to it. Like I said, though, anybody care to expound on their answer before I tell you what I wrote about? Islam.
It's not. My answer was the zodiacal will. Zodiacal will is the embodiment of who and what you truly are, and the essence of it's the essence of you. It's the essence of any and everything in existence.
Desire,
Desire? Why you say desire?
because that drives people, because most people are driven by desiring things, that brings most of their injuries also.
Anybody else?
well, it says that it's something that you can't get away from, and you can never get away from yourself.
There's a few phrases that scream time to me. I don't recall them exactly. I'll never run out on you. I'm real. It's just a few statements that time is what stuck out to me.
I wrote about time. I wrote about time. You say control? I wrote about time.
All right.
But the reason I wrote about time is because we always say that, oh man, it's just not enough time. It's not enough time in the day. I ran out of time. I don't have time. I don't have time. When all we got is time. That's it. All we got is time. Time can never run out. When time runs out, you run out.
Your finite mind can't
This
comprehend.
Don't hurt yourself, man.
Nah, he trying
Trying to kill yourself, man.
I like to add on to that time situation. Usually, this is a standard example. You don't want to do something within your mind's frame. It seems like it takes forever. If you're enjoying what you're doing, it's a blinking of an eye. It's fast. The time doesn't exist. You can see dishes.
Calculated time.
You can be like, well, I got these dishes. There's 1,000 dishes in the sink. You start building up all these scenarios in your brain about all these dishes and how long it's going to take to get done. But once you get into the rhythm of doing those dishes, before you know it, that was an illusion and it dispels.
So
I think
before you
that's the
leave,
calculation.
before you walk away. So if you're looking at the sink and it's full of dishes, and you sitting there and you're losing your mind, you say, I got all these dishes, it's going to take forever. What do you need to do?
Change your frame.
Change your frame of
Paradigm.
mind. Change your frame of mind, your own paradigm. Right. So that's why I put in here, learn both sides of the coin. And both sides of the coin, so if one side of the coin is heads, what side would I be talking about? Time. Obviously one side is time. So if tails is the other side, then what am I talking about? What's the other side of the coin? Who?
No time. Illusion.
No.
Space.
No. No.
The waste of time.
Let's read it.
I think for his analogy though,
I'm gonna read the last couple lines. It says, "But I'm not all bad. I got something for you to do. First, understand that I am real, but I only exist inside of you. Next, learn you, love you, because on you I can never run out. Learn both sides of the coin and leave nothing left to doubt." So if one side of the coin is time, then what's the other side of the coin that you need to learn?
Nationality.
Self.
Yourself, yeah.
If you got a coin and you got heads and tails, and I mean, if you comprehend what's there, then you need to learn. It says, learn you, love you. Leave nothing, then you leave nothing left to doubt. See, for the majority of us, well, for everybody that's in here in this room, you know that once you start to learn yourself, once you start to understand yourself, and once you are ready to start becoming yourself, then everything changes up here.
Yeah.
So then you say, you know what? I do got time. I'm gonna get done what I can get done in the allotted time that's here. And then when I get some more time to finish it up, I'm gonna finish it up, because time is never gonna run out. I'm gonna always have time. Now, if you need better time management, then manage those little tick-tocks. If you need better time management, manage those tick-tocks. But know that those tick-tocks are these tick-tocks. So that means you need to manage you a little better. It's not the clock. The clock, you listen, we can post the clock right there, and it's gonna do what it do. It's gonna continue to, if we need to change the battery, we change the battery, and it's still going to go. But I can go home from work and I can say, "Hey, I got time."
Yeah.
Oh, shit. It's 8 o'clock. Let me get to work. Well, then that's you that need time management. That ain't got nothing to do with no clock. The clock's gonna do what it do. 6 to 7 is gonna be whatever it is. But it's you. I just wanted to share that with y'all. I put that together yesterday.
Like that.
Just because it kind of coincides with what we're gonna read out of the Circle 7 Holy Quran.
All right.
So everybody have a Quran, or anybody have the handout? Anybody not have the handouts that I gave out today?
Oh, yeah.
Is it?
Taj got it. Let me see. Yeah, that's it. So flip to the first page. Everybody else got a handout or Quran? Yes? All right, cool. I'm gonna read the first page. I didn't print the first page. It says, "Know thyself and know thy Father God Allah." And then we'll go into the first page that y'all had that coincides with what we just read. As I'm reading, if anybody hears or sees anything, stop me if you want to talk about it. Y'all know how I am. I like interactive classes. I don't want to sit here and preach and talk all day. I want y'all to talk back to me. And y'all two stop laughing because they're picking up on the camera.
I apologize.
Put y'all in the corner.
Put them in the corner.
Know thyself and thy Father God Allah. The genealogy of Jesus was 18 years of the events, life, works, and teachings in India, Europe, and Africa. These events occurred before he was 30 years of age. These secret lessons are for all those who love Jesus and desire to know about his life, works, and teachings. Dear readers, do not falsely use these lessons. They are for good, peace, and happiness for all those that love Jesus. Dear mothers, teach these lessons to your little ones, that they may learn to love instead of hate. Dear fathers, by these lessons, you can set your house in order, and your children will learn to love instead of hate. How many times y'all seen them pictures of them little, the Klansmen with their little boys? And they got their little boys dressed up in our ancient garb, in our ancient outfits. They just reversed the order of it. They taught their children to hate instead of love. I wonder how many of them grew up hating their parents because of it. The lessons in this pamphlet are not for sale, but for the sake of humanity, as I am a prophet and a servant is worthy of his hire. You can receive this pamphlet at expense. The reason these lessons have not been known is because the Muslims of India, Egypt, and Palestine had these secrets and kept them back from the outside world. And when the time appointed by Allah loosened the keys and freed the secrets, and for the first time in ages, have these secrets been delivered in the hands of Muslims in America. There's a whole lot of secrets under lock and key. We've been uncovering a whole lot of them since 1913. The Prophet gave you a hell of a blueprint, a hell of a plan, and it needed to be executed, but it wasn't. It was put back in the vault. It was put back under lock and key. He established the temple, and the temple had a specific job, a specific duty, and it wasn't getting done. So more started to break out of the temple. More started to break away from the organization, and more started teaching on their own, teaching outside in venues like this. But what's important is although we learn all of the law, we have these civic lessons, we learn about nationality, it's important that we stick to the principles as well. That's right. And still understand what was left behind. Mm-hmm. If you turn to that first page, your page should read page 4. It should say chapter 1, the creation and fall of man. I told y'all a couple weeks ago, I ran from this book for a minute. I ducked and dodged because I opened it up and I said, Jesus. I'm being honest with y'all, I did that. And then as I was doing some other studying and some other research, kept on circle 7. And the circle 7 Holy Quran, the circle 7 Holy Quran. So I went and got it. Dug through my books and pulled it off the shelf and I started reading. And I graffitied in it. I went to work. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna talk to my family and see how they feel about these lessons. All the stuff that's in there. Some stuff I seen. So y'all see, y'all know I tag up everything, highlight it. I might do a little bit of writing in it, but like I said, as I'm reading, if it's anything that you see that I may read over, because everybody's perception is their own, I said that before. You may feel something, or it may touch you in a way that it didn't touch me, or I might not feel whatever it is that you felt. So stop me, and then we'll talk about it. Chapter 1, the creation and fall of man. Time never was when man was not. I read that sentence like 6 times. I just kept reading. I kept reading. And then when I wrote that, I didn't have this on the brain. I just had time on the brain. But then when I wrote that and I thought about it, it made sense. That time never was when man was not. If life of a man at any time began, a time will come when it will end. The thoughts of Allah cannot be circumscribed. Y'all got on the 3rd page, you got a list of words. On the 3rd page, everybody should have a list of words. I put together that list of words because there's some words in here that I came across that some people may look at and not comprehend. So I put the list of words in there. So when you see circumscribed, when they say the thoughts of Allah cannot be circumscribed, that means it can't be put in a box. It can't just be closed in and tucked away. The thoughts of Allah cannot be circumscribed. Did I say circumcised a minute ago?
No.
No.
I thought, forgive me, y'all. I thought I said circumcised. All right, cool. No infinite mind, it says, no finite mind can comprehend things infinite. All finite things are subject to change. All finite things will cease to be because there was a time when they were not. The bodies and the souls of men are finite things, and they will change. Yeah, from the finite point of view, the time will come when they will be no more. But man himself is not the body, nor the soul. He is a spirit and a part of Allah. Anybody need any clarity? Anybody, any confusion in it? In anything I just read, everybody clear?
Yes.
Cool. Created feet gave to man, to spirit man, a soul that he might function on the plane of soul. gave him a body of flesh, that he may function on the plane of things made manifest. Why did created feet give to spirit man the soul, that he may function on the plane of soul? Why did created feet give to the soul a body of flesh, that he might function on the plane of things that are made manifest? What is created feet? Or who is created feet?
Allah's actions are
Everything we
creation
read
of man.
Allah will be created feet. Son.
It would be the mathematics of the universe created by the energy planets, or what is called the seven eyes of Allah, which would be the energies emitted from the major ruling spheres in this solar system that chart the energies, i.e. your map or your horoscope.
To continue reading. Hear now, ye cherubim, ye seraphim, ye angels, and ye men. Hear now, O protoplast, and earth, and plant, and beast. Hear now, ye creeping things of earth, ye fish that swim, ye birds that fly. Hear now, ye winds that blow, ye thunders and lightnings of the sky. Hear now, ye spirits of fire, of water, earth, and air. Hear now, O everything that is, or was, or evermore will be. For wisdom speaks from out of the highest plane of spirit life. Man is the thought of Allah. All thoughts of Allah are infinite. They are not measured up by time. For things that are concerned with time begin and end. How many people here grew up in the church?
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't too many of them. I grew up in the church, I won't lie. There's a scripture in the Bible, Ecclesiastes 3. Somebody with a smartphone, pull it up for me, please. Ecclesiastes 3.
I got a Bible.
Hold up. Give me Ecclesiastes 3. And I just want to make a point too. When you read things in the Bible, understand that just because it's in the Bible, it's not true. But also understand that it's in the Bible because it's true. Y'all got me?
Yeah.
It's not in the Bible. I mean, just because it's in the Bible doesn't make it true. Just because it's in the Bible doesn't make it true. But understand that because it's truth, it's in the Bible.
No, it can't be that because
I already got it.
it can't. Oh.
So I'm talking.
Also, it's another thing that people need to know about the Bible, because they have a tendency to dismiss it, just because the popes of Rome had it transliterated by King James, that the Bible is from the ancient Moabite Empire under Mordecai, the last high priest of the Moabite Empire. The key to it is that it must be given its Kabbalistic base so that people can properly comprehend it. But when they take it from the dogmata position set up by the Bishopric of Rome, that is what has created the darkness and the confusion amongst people. So that must be known. Don't pass the book off like it's not yours, because it is yours.
Yes.
I'm going to read this one more time. It says, man is a thought of Allah.
Here it is.
All thoughts of Allah are infinite. They are not measured up by time, for things that are concerned with time begin and end. When I read that, it made me think about this Bible scripture. This was my grandmother's favorite scripture when she was on this plane. And I used to read it all the time. And God knew his wife had transitioned from cancer. So I used this scripture, and I wrote a poem for him and his family. But Ecclesiastes 3 says this: a time for everything. There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to uproot. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to tear down and a time to build. a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to scatter stones and a time to gather them, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to search and a time to give up, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to mend, a time to be silent and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. Now, the reason I read that is because I want you to see that whatever doctrine you follow, whatever book you want to read out of, whatever script you want to follow, it's going to say the same thing. You just got to be able to decipher what you read. You got to be able to look at it and look into the words. You see, most of the times when I read, it's almost like I form, like I'm part of the page. And then I'm on the page, and as I'm reading, I'm just walking along the lines.
There's a thing there that the Quran says, teach children to love and not hate. But then you just read something that says time to hate. I mean, it's not that like paradoxical.
Is it like or like contradictory?
Yeah.
It say a time to love and a time to hate in Ecclesiastes 3, right? So Rick said in the Quran, it says, mothers and fathers teach your children to love instead of hate. Now, if you teach your children to love instead of hate, then they'll grow up with that love in their heart. And they'll put hate on the back burner, right? But as they grow up, and as they experience certain things in life, they're going to come across different people, different situations, and different obstacles. So, whereas I can say, I don't hate anyone, or I don't hate any particular thing, and that my heart is not consumed with hate, I hate the situation that we're in. If that makes sense. I don't hate the Albion for what they did. I don't hate the Albion for coming in here, kicking down the door, and taking our land. I don't hate our ancestors for letting them do it. And I don't hate our ancestors for not getting us out of there sooner. And see, the reason I say that is this, because a lot of people say, I hate these white people. I hate these crackers. I hate these Europeans. I hate these Albions. And the only point that I be trying to make is hate your people just as much, because they're just as guilty.
Exactly.
So I understand the question, and it makes sense. Thank you for the question, but you got to be able to separate the two. Is it malicious hate, or is it just I hate the circumstances that we're in? Go ahead, George.
You want to go for me, Taj?
Yeah, one of the things I want to note, when you study Ecclesiastics, what it's really telling you of is the higher self and the lower self. And you're supposed to appeal to the common senses to make the distinction. And then whereas I was telling you that man is spirit, not the flesh, is letting you know the duality. This is why it's important for the people to learn the Kabbalistic basis of the books, so that the contradictions don't become confusing when it's actually telling you of the higher lower self and the lower self, and training you to morally and ethically observe them and make a choice, or what you call the high light and the low light, or what you call the upper world and lower world, or higher self and lower self. That's why in the Quran it tells you the basic lessons that is needed with the people of the North is a knowledge of the higher self. They need to learn to love instead of hate, and know of their higher self and lower self. Now with that, he's saying they must know the Kabbalistic lessons in order to really make that comprehension. And so it's not so much a contradiction as it is to get you to step off and observe yourself.
Go ahead, George.
Yeah. Sometimes I don't want to get into little science. You know, I'll be spilling some beans, but it was taught that at one time that hate, that we as a people, as a person, should hate every bad action that is done. We should despise it, we should hate it. Action that is done wrong to someone or anyone. That's the hate part. You know, that you dislike, you know what I mean, the action that's being done. It's like like what would happen in Ferguson or whatever. You know what I mean? You know, a lot of people is hating with the action that happened. You know, the man put up his hands, like you said before, right? He surrendered, and he got shot down with no weapon. They hated that action. It was a hate action thing. You know, and everybody should hate that bad action.
Let me ask you this. All right, so I hate the action from Ferguson, right?
Right.
What's next?
Well,
If I follow what was told to me that I should hate every bad action, okay, so now I hate the action. What's next?
well, that's another story.
No, same story.
No, well, that's another part to it. You know.
But another part of the same story. So what I'm asking you, I mean, now if you don't know, then don't listen.
No, what I'm saying is that, like they said, silence. You know what I mean? It's almost saying that you almost agree to it.
No, silence is saying you agree.
It's consent.
consent.
It's
They were
consent.
talking about consent. So we all, as collectively, should try to do something about it. You know, as much as we can.
That's my point. That's what I was getting at. So if you hate every bad action, if you like now me myself, just a few minutes ago, I said I hate the situation we're in. So therefore, I go through all of this paperwork and stuff like that, and I stand here. So I'm not opposed to what you're saying, hate every bad action. Just if you hate every bad action, what's going to be your reaction?
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm saying. Go ahead, Jay.
All right, I've been finding that I can't read because, like, when I've gone into the book, all right, I think I know what hate is or what economics is and what want is, and I'm thinking I'm reading these words, but these words are connotative because, like, I'm looking up the etymology of the word hate. Okay, now it says the etymology of the word hate is sorrow, grief, calamity. And that doesn't necessarily, that's not necessarily, I'm just saying that I'm not reading, I'm giving it a connotative definition, you know, hate, because I've been taught the language, the culture that this the culture is in the language, okay? So if I'm learning this language, hate, connotatively, then I ain't gonna get the real meaning of this anyway, so I need to go back and honor my mothers and fathers, the things that they gave me in the first place, so I can know how to read. I can't read. If I skip over that small word, I'm assuming that I know, but I don't know. And like I say, to go back into the etymology of the word is sorrow, calamity, and grief. So, and then, like I said, I read another passage in there. It says, the want of good is evil. And I said, what does that mean? You know, in one of the later passages. And I said, want? You want the lack of want, I mean, the want of evil, want of good is evil. That's what it says. The want of good is evil. And I said, well, that doesn't make sense to me. So then I looked up want. Then I looked up the want. Want, it means lack. So the phrase makes sense to me. The lack of good is evil. So you got to go back to like Taj was saying, before. If you don't understand the word before, if you don't understand these simple words that you think you know, you ain't reading it, and you're not getting it's not going to your soul, okay? That's how I feel about it, right?
Can I interject just to help with that? That's part of the Kabbalistic responsibility, because the Kabbalistic responsibility is these two things when you're going into the Bible. And this, all priests are told this, which means, so if you're talking to a rabbi, an imam, a reverend, know this: irregardless of what they tell you on the surface, all of them are Gnostics. And all of them are told when they get their degrees, in order to study the Bible, the Pentateuch, the Hexateuch, Uaspi, any of the scripts, that they first must be trained in the Kabbalistic alphabet, what they would wrongly for the masses call the Jewish alphabet, which it is not. It's the Kabbalistic alphabet, and if you don't have that foundation, your concepts of this book will be absolutely incorrect. All of the teachings of Musa, Zachary, Yeshua, all of them absolutely are totally Kabbalistic. And if you approach the book without dealing with the root or the mother of the word, etc., which is part of the instruction already, this is the basis of the confusion. And that is identifying, that's why people must understand the mission of the bishopric when they had King James to alter the book out of its original culture. Because when they altered it out of the original culture, the mission was to take the Kabbalistic base out of the book in order to create the very confusion that is existing now, that has caused all of this sectalism that has caused man at each other's throat. By design. That is that is what is called the connotative linguistics set forth by the Bishopric of Rome under the Spanish Inquisition to put the world in darkness. And they set up the secret societies of the study of mother and son, etc., for those who they consider the high priest or the elite to know the truth themselves, but preserve it from the masses, and then to make food out of the masses who by their ignorance would start destroying each other. That is the truth. Researchable, factual.
So,